For the past 30 years, the Mercedes-Benz C-Class has carried the torch if you were looking to get into the three-pointed star brand, at least until 2014 when the CLA entered the US market. Now, when that happened, it allowed Mercedes to push the C-Class up market, which is when it kind of became a baby S-Class. The previous W205 was well known for that, and it became one of the company's top-selling vehicles. Now, for 2022, there's an all-new version of the C-Class. It's now known internally as the W206, and just like its previous generation, this takes a lot of design cues from the just recently redesigned S-Class, including the gorgeous exterior styling on the outside, the beautifully crafted interior with an increase in luxury and tech, and under the hood, this base engine model has a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, which is now EQ boosted. It's electrically assisted with their mild hybrid technology. So as you can see this week, Mercedes has loaned me this beautiful starling blue metallic C300 4Matic, which means it has all-wheel drive. And the big question I want to answer is, if you guys have always had your eye on a C-Class, has the company managed to make this new version feel again like a baby S-Class? Stay tuned to find out. Now, before we talk about the exterior styling changes for this all-new generation, I want to show you guys what's powering this vehicle. Now, of course, Mercedes will offer a plethora of engines, but at launch for now, you only get one choice, which is the C300. Now, this being the entry-level model, you basically get a 2-liter turbocharged direct injection 4-cylinder paired up with their EQ Boost, which is a mild hybrid technology. We've seen that technology in all of their bigger engines, but this is the first application that I'm seeing on the smaller 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder. The horsepower number remains the same as last year's 255 horsepower. However, torque increases by 22 pound-feet to 295 pound-feet of torque, and it's available as low as like 1,500 RPM. So lots of torque down low, which is going to give this vehicle a very peppy feel off the line. It all goes out through a one choice only, a 9-speed automatic transmission that is a Mercedes design transmission, and you can take your pick between either rear-wheel drive, that's right, the C-Class remains a rear-wheel drive vehicle, or for $2,000 extra, you can get the company's 4Matic all-wheel drive system, which my tester has. Fuel economy has been improved this year to 25.35 if you guys go for the rear drive model. This all-wheel drive version drops it down to 23.33, so still pretty good numbers. It does require premium gas because this is a luxury vehicle. And with this power increase, Mercedes says you should get to 60 in 5.9 seconds. We've brought our testing equipment, so we'll go ahead and see if that's true. And you'll reach a top speed of around 130 miles an hour. This new version obviously is larger, so it is heavier. It weighs in at just under 4,000 pounds with all-wheel drive. But let's go ahead and close the hood and take a look at the exterior styling of this new C-Class. You can see the look of this car. If you guys have seen the S-Class, it's going to look very familiar. It's riding on a modified version of the S-Class's platform. And my tester has been enhanced with the AMG body styling with the night package for an extra $3,000. You can see the grille of this car looks pretty good. I like how it actually has these little 3-pointed stars in the grille insert itself, which kind of gives it a sportier look. You've got lots of chrome, although I'm surprised they didn't black this out with the night package. I'm assuming there must be an extended night package that my tester is missing. You can see there's the large and in charge Mercedes logo that houses the radar sensor for the adaptive cruise control. The headlight technology, Mercedes has upped that. You have standard LED headlights on all trims, even the base version. And my tester for $1,000 has the digital LED headlights, which can project directions and symbols on the actual road. That is now street legal in the US. You can see there are LED daytime running lights and turn signals, LED low and high beams, no fog lights, and then down here you can see some of the vents are functional and some of the vents are also fake. Now, looking at the rest of the car, I do want to mention this model here is the Pinnacle trim, which is now the top of the line. There's a premium, an exclusive, and a Pinnacle trim. The Pinnacle basically includes things like the GPS, which is standard. You have the Burmester sound system, and you have the virtual reality GPS. But looking at the rest of the side profile, I want to show you guys the wheels really quick. You can see these are a 19-inch wheel that's like a $650 extra charge. You can see they're riding on Goodyear summer tires, which is kind of an upgrade. These tire sizes themselves are 225/40 at the front, and then you have a staggered 255 at the rear. Remember, this vehicle is rear-wheel drive. You can see the brakes on the Sportline are cross-drilled, and these have upgraded brakes, although I would like to see a painted rotor, which should definitely give it a more premium look. And then you can see here on the side mirror, this is black accented with the night package. There's also an LED turn signal. And then you can see the roof. My tester for $1,000 has the panoramic glass roof, which definitely lets in a lot of light. Now, looking at the rest of the profile, as I back up, they did make this car larger this year. It's around 187 inches long overall, which means this is about 2.5 inches longer than the previous generation. Its wheelbase is 112 inches long, which means it's about an inch longer. This is about the same size as the A4 and the BMW 3 Series, so that's something to keep in mind. This is still an entry-level compact sports sedan. Looking at the rear, I really like the styling. This is where they took a lot of the baby S-Class design cues here. You can see the taillights look very similar to the last S-Class. You have like a 3D look to the taillights themselves. They're full LED. Mercedes is not doing a directional sequential turn signal, which some of you don't care for. I actually think it looks more premium, but you can't argue this is one handsome car. I do think it needs the rear lip spoiler. You can add one body colored or black depending on what you prefer. You can see there's a C300 badge, there's a 4Matic badge on the side to show that this is the all-wheel drive version. And then you can see the exhaust tips. If you look closely, they're actually fake. You can see they're just a trim piece. They don't even go anywhere. It's just kind of closed off. The exhaust is actually hidden underneath the bumper. You do have this sport bumper trim on the AMG line body package styling, but I don't like how Mercedes decided to go the Audi route with the fake exhaust tips. Now, opening up the trunk, you can see the C-Class right now only comes as a sedan. I expect Mercedes to eventually offer a coupe and a convertible at some point. You can see the trunk measures around 12.9 cubic feet of space. The seats do fold down in a 40-20-40 split arrangement. And there's a pretty good amount of space in here. If you open this up, you can see very deep storage compartment, but no spare tires. So I guess you have to deal with probably a fix-a-flat kit. But overall, there is decent practicality, especially if you guys must have a sedan. So now that we've talked about the outside of the new C-Class, let's go ahead and hop inside the interior, because that's really where a lot of luxury buyers judge vehicles like this. The first thing I do want to show you, however, is the key fob. I first showed you guys this new key fob on the Mercedes-Benz S-Class. It's also on the new SL. It's a very nice, hefty feeling key. The key itself feels heavy. It's got the usual unlock, lock, trunk release button. No remote start on the fob, but you should be able to use the Mercedes Me app if you're an owner of this vehicle and access the vehicle. You can ping it, you can remote start it there. I cannot do that since this is a press car. Now, my tester with the Starling Blue exterior is complemented by this upgraded for about $2,000 premium sienna brown two-tone Napa leather interior. You can see it goes really well with the dark blue exterior with the two-tone brown. These are the upgraded seats. You can see the seats themselves. I believe they adjust in like 14 different ways. They're heated and ventilated, but no massage feature. You don't typically find that in this segment. You can see that premium Napa leather is extended throughout the door panel here, where you have real leather stitching on this upper portion. Down here on the lower portion, there's real metal trim, lots of piano black trim. You can see these have the new seat controls, which are touch responsive. They don't actually move. You kind of just like put pressure on a certain area, the seat will start to adjust. You have four-way lumbar down there on the actual seat. This is hard touch plastic down here, which is what you expect considering this is almost the entry-level point into this vehicle. Now, getting inside, the step-in height is low. Obviously, this is a sedan, and then when I shut the door, it has a nice solid sounding thunk. No soft closed doors. You don't expect that again in this segment of vehicle. Now, the start stop button is right here, just like in the new S-Class. And because this is a mild hybrid, you can hear the engine kind of just comes to life. There's no traditional starter noise because this vehicle is, remember, a mild hybrid. Now, if you guys have spent some time in the new S-Class, this is going to look very familiar. The layout is pretty similar. And in fact, it feels almost like I'm sitting in an S-Class because of the level of tech in this car. You have standard in every version of the C-Class, the large display. So you have a 12.3-inch digital instrument panel display over here. And then over here on the center stack, we have a 11.9-inch display. As you can see, it's got wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. This runs the latest version of MBUX, which means it has the voice commands. And it just looks fantastic. Huge upgrade versus the prior generation, which I remember started out with like an 8-inch screen. They eventually expanded it out to like a 10-inch display. The tech that my tester also has with the Pinnacle also includes this massive heads-up display that includes augmented reality for the GPS function, which looks fantastic. And you can see here the materials are just exquisite. You have full leather stitching on the dash, which is genuine with contrast stitching. The vents, I love the way this looks, because if you also start messing with the vents, it has this satisfying click. I love this. It just feels really expensive and high quality. My tester also has this upgraded trim here, which kind of looks like aluminum mixed with carbon fiber. You can also get different accents of wood depending on your taste and whatnot. Down over here, you can see it's all accentuated through here. It's just a very clean kind of waterfall design to the instrument panel, which just looks really nice to me. The steering wheel also is pretty similar to the new S-Class in terms of the design, although we have a 3-spoke design here. You have the touch-sensitive buttons, of course, which work fairly well, but they kind of get covered in fingerprints. So I find myself, my OCD self, wanting to clean this off. But this control here controls that screen, this controls that screen over there, or you can also use it as a touch screen. You have your controls for your Distronic, of course. The wheel itself is power, tilt, and telescoping, which offers a good amount of adjustability and range. You have paddles on the wheel. The horn sounds pretty typical. I like how it kind of befitting of the size of the vehicle. And then over here on the center stack, it's light right now, but this car has beautiful ambient lighting. You can see it's behind the dashboard vents. It's in the actual dash itself. It's on the door panels. This has the enhanced ambient lighting, which really makes a difference at night with the cabin. So that's something to keep in mind if you guys like the theatrics. My tester also has the upgraded Burmester sound system, which sounds just as good as anything else in this segment. So that's one of the reasons why you want to go for at least the exclusive trim. When I put the vehicle into reverse, you can see there's your full top-down 360 camera, which offers different views. You can show to a front view, you can show a side view. You can also kind of rotate around the car and show the entire car, although I wish the color actually matched along with the wheels. But again, beautiful, impressive tech. This vehicle also has the ability to parallel park itself for you. That's what you get as part of the exclusive trim as well. Pushing the home display here, you can see there's the MBUX infotainment system. This is the factory GPS, which look at the resolution and quality there, guys. I mean, this is just as good as Audi's Google Earth display. It's basically the same thing. You can also, if you'd like, put the GPS in here as well. So I put the navigation here. You can see it shows you the same thing, just like on the center screen here. So very Audi-like. I really love the way that looks. Just looks super premium. So I love to see Mercedes really upping their tech. You can see there's the sport gauges, which looks a little trippy to me. The one thing this is missing from the S-Class is the 3D function. This doesn't have the three-dimensional look, which is fine. I wasn't expecting to find that in this particular vehicle. There's going to be certain things that Mercedes will save for the S-Class. You can see there's where you want to input a destination. Pushing the home screen here will take you back to all your usual widgets. You can change the settings of this vehicle. You can go to your radio. You can go to information, which will show things like consumption, engine, and vehicle, where it shows you how much horsepower and torque you're making, how much boost pressure you're making. So that's all pretty nice. There's also different shortcut buttons over here. You can see there's the car display where you can kind of activate some of the driver assistance functions, turn on the manual shifting, you can turn off the stability control over there, turn on the active lane keep assist. That's your fingerprint scanner right there. So if you have it registered to you, when I touch that, it'll essentially load up the Mercedes Me app and it knows exactly who's in the vehicle. That's a great feature. If you're an owner of this car, you can see there's some of the ambient lighting for this vehicle, which, by the way, the ambient lighting in this car, you can adjust it by going here, going to the settings, and then going to light, and you can see here ambient lighting. There's several different modes of ambient lighting. You can see I have it on the Malibu sunset color. There's also a Miami rose, ocean blue, burning blue. You can also do a multicolor or a monochromatic theme. You can adjust the brightness and the effects. So lots of different ways you can adjust that, and it certainly makes for a beautiful looking cabin at night. So I really like that feature. Opening this up, you can see there's your wireless phone charging pad down here. That's an extra charge, part of the exclusive trim. You have your cup holders over here. Lots of good storage, and then you can kind of hide that if you'd like by closing this. More aluminum trim here, nice padded center console armrest where you open this up. You can see there's 2 USB-C charging ports, a good amount of storage as well, which is nice. You can hide things over there. The seats, I find them to be very comfortable and supportive. I love the way they look. These headrests, you can see they are manually adjustable to move them forward and back, but they also are electrically adjustable to go up and down. The heated and ventilated seats work really well. I also love the way the two-tone looks. The glove compartment, you can see, is huge. It's damped but not lined with felt. It's like got a massive amounts of storage in there. You can see also the rearview mirror also has this beautiful frameless design. You have plenty of LED lighting in the cabin in here, which also it kind of, the ambient lighting accentuates on the upper portion as well. You can see the pano sunroof. There is a power sunshade, which you kind of control it from this touch sensitive panel over here, which you can see if you close that, it really blocks out some of the light. I do wish this car offered the shades for the rear and for the back window. I don't see that here. But you can see her just kind of touching that, it'll open up. You can also open this up as well. You can see there's also a separate shade for the rear passengers. If I want to open this up again, basically just swipe it again after it's done. And you can see once that opens up, it really lets in a lot of air, a lot of light. A lot of car companies are getting rid of the functionality of opening it. I like how Mercedes still gives you the option, but you can see that's the most that it opens. I kind of wish it opened it a little bit larger. But overall, the cabin has amazing tech in this vehicle. I love the tech, I like the space, and I also love the luxury feel. This car feels expensive, it feels high quality, and it literally feels like you're sitting in an S-Class. Looking at the back seat of the new C-Class, because they increased the wheelbase by about 1 inch, they also basically gave us another inch of legroom. There's around 36 inches back here, which is pretty class competitive. Remember, this is still a C-Class, so if you want more space, go buy an E-Class or an S-Class. But you can see here, the seats have that same beautiful two-tone look. This is the upgraded premium Napa leather. As I get into the car, the sloping roofline here definitely cuts into the headroom space a little bit, but for somebody like me at 5'7", I can kind of get in here and get pretty comfortable. You can see once I shut the door, it has that same solid sounding thunk. There's still the same beautiful premium materials. You can see some of the ambient lighting over here with the Burmester sound system, real metal trim, nice leather. And then one thing I'm noticing here, you do have rear seat vents, but surprisingly, I don't have separate climate functions back here. If you open this though, you have 2 USB-C charging ports, an actual power outlet. It would be nice to see an actual 115 household outlet back here, but at least they give you the fast USB-C charging ports, which I read those are actually optional. You have to add like this advanced USB package that adds 6 USBs, total of 6 USBs in this interior. You can see here 36 inches of legroom is pretty good. There's good foot space. Large hump here because remember this is a rear wheel drive vehicle, so you're gonna have to deal with that. You have 2 storage cubbies over here, which is nice. The seats themselves have an armrest, or the center seat has an armrest here that folds down, gives you a little weird cell phone storage area, or if you open this up again, you can see there are some cup holders that pop out. A little bit of storage in the door panel, which is nice. And then you have, like I said earlier, this power retractable shade. This piece does not open, but for this price point, I would have liked to see a power retractable sunshade here. You can get that in some competing vehicles. So overall, if you need to use this as a family car, it certainly will suffice, but just remember something like the GLC or the E-Class obviously is going to offer you more space. So here we are driving the brand spanking new Mercedes-Benz C300 4Matic. It's been quite some time since I've driven just a regular C300. Remember, this is designed to be the entry-level point into the C-Class family, kind of like the lease special. But just like the new S-Class, this feels really solid. It feels very premium. No, it doesn't drive like a baby, like an S-Class, but it definitely drives like a very fine luxury automobile that doesn't necessarily feel like it's at the entry-level point like you'd get, for example, in the Mercedes-Benz A-Class, which can feel a little bit chitsy at times. That's why the car was discontinued, at least for the US market. Now, Mercedes says 0 to 60 in just under 6 seconds for this model, so let's go ahead and see if that claim is accurate. This has the 9-speed auto, it's got all-wheel drive. Ooh, it's quick off the line. Nice. 5.66 seconds. That's pretty good. The Germans tend to be pretty conservative with their 0 to 60 estimates, so they said 5.9, 5.66 is pretty respectable. Remember, this is the base level model. If you guys are looking for more power, there's a C43 Mercedes-AMG version coming that has like 402 horsepower from a 2-liter turbo 4 with just a bigger EQ boost part of it. So that's something that to keep in mind. It also has more boost pressure for the turbocharger for the engine. But I have to say, for a base engine, this is plenty powerful. I mean, for the majority of luxury buyers who just want the badge and they want like the refinement, you're going to find plenty to like here. But let's go ahead and try it one more time, see what we can get. We're going to brake torque it again. Really strong off the line. 6.05 seconds there, so that's actually going slightly uphill, but still 5.66, so just under 6 seconds is very, very respectable for a base model. So I have no complaints there. My tester does have the AMG line sport package on it, so it's got those bigger 19-inch wheels. We do have adaptive suspension. I have the vehicle in Sport Plus, and you know what? In Sport Plus, this vehicle really has a perfect balance. Even though it's in the firmest ride setting right now, it still rides like a dream. Even though we've got these low profile 19-inch wheels, the steering in this car is electric. It's very light, but it also gets relatively heavy when you start turning up the drive modes. The road feel obviously isn't really there, but it's very precise, it's very quick. The suspension stays nice and flat. The responsiveness of the transmission, this is the 9-speed automatic. We do have paddles on the wheel, but the transmission is one of the best in the industry. This is a Mercedes designed transmission. You can even pull the paddle if you'd like, and it does a pretty decent job at rev matching on your downshifts. The sound of this engine is probably not what I enjoy hearing. I mean, most vehicles in this segment that have a 2-liter turbo 4, they don't make particularly nice noises. You essentially get a nice strong feeling of low-end torque, and it's a smooth engine. It has this augmented sound that you can turn on and off. In Sport Plus, it's in the loudest setting. It just sounds a little gruff. It sounds like what I don't want to hear in a luxury sedan. There's a reason why people like the 6 cylinders. Sadly, if you're looking for more than 4 cylinders in the new C-Class, you're just not going to find it. This car only comes with 4 cylinders, even the AMG models that are coming up. But man, I can't argue with the performance. Put my foot down there. It's just really quick and really smooth shifting transmission. But let's go ahead and cycle the drive modes here since I got stuck behind this slow-moving Audi. Let's go into comfort setting here. So let's see what this vehicle is like in comfort. Now this is where it shuts down the active noise enhancement for the engine. So it's gonna be a little bit quieter. I can tell the ride got a little bit smoother. This doesn't have air suspension, but it has their adaptive dampers. And you know what? It has a good ride quality. And the visibility in this car is quite good as well. You can see out of the front, the sides, the rear very well. My tester has a driver assistance package, so it has their latest driver assistance tech that I've tested in like the new S-Class, but not full-on hands-free. This will execute lane changes for you on the highway. It will follow the vehicle to a full stop in traffic for you, which is nice. Let's go back to Sport Plus here. Since the slow Audi is going left, we'll go right. Nice. 4Matic all-wheel drive, so it just puts the power down nicely. I mean, this is plenty of power. Remember, this car competes with vehicles like the BMW 3 Series, the Audi A4, Volvo S60, Lexus IS, and you could also compare it to a Tesla Model 3. That is the sales leader in this segment. Mercedes did around 30,000 of these last year. BMW did around 50,000 3 Series. Tesla did 120,000 Model 3s. So that car essentially is making vehicles like this, I don't want to say obsolete, but kind of, because obviously people still want a entry-level luxury sedan. I'm just not entirely sure they want a gas-powered entry-level luxury sedan when you can get something that's fully electric where you don't have to deal with that 2-liter turbo 4 making all those noises. Now, obviously, Mercedes is going electric. They do have the EQS, which I've driven. There's an EQE, there's an EQS SUV. There's probably going to be an EQC, which is going to be the electric version of this car. I reckon that could be the one to wait for, but if you must have a traditional powertrain like this, there's certainly something that can be said about these, modern internal combustion powered vehicles. We are pretty much at the pinnacle of what we can do in terms of technology, in terms of power, in terms of emissions. This car is rated at 23 in the city, 33 on the highway. Now, I've only had the car for just a couple of days, and the trip computer is saying around 22 mpg. It's been driven back and forth by journalists with their lead foot, so I'll have to wait until I retest this car for a full week where I can do my fuel economy test on it to see what I can get. They say 33 on the highway, which is pretty good. Remember, this mild hybrid system, the EQ Boost that it adds, can add about 20 horsepower and 148 pound-feet of torque in low certain conditions. It just kind of amplifies the engine's output and makes the vehicle's transitions a lot smoother. The one thing I will say, this has one of the smoothest start-stop transitions that I've ever tested. Smoother even than all the other mild hybrids that I've driven out there, so it's impressive. As soon as you come to a stop, the engine shuts off. When you let off the throttle, it literally restarts so seamlessly. I was amazed. It felt like I was driving a full hybrid as opposed to a mild hybrid. So overall, I'm impressed with the new C-Class. It has the refinement that I expect from a vehicle that wears the 3-pointed star badge. It's got plenty of power, it's got plenty of luxury and technology. This certainly raises the bar in terms of the tech and the luxury features. And essentially, you're getting a baby S-Class, but for basically half the price. So even though this segment of entry-level compact sports sedans seems to be shrinking, the sales leader currently remains the Tesla Model 3. Some of you must have an actual German luxury brand, and you also must have a gas-powered vehicle, which is where the new C300 comes into play. If you guys are considering a BMW 3 Series, an Audi A4, a Lexus IS, an Acura TLX, this car must make it to the top of your list because if you guys really want something that has S-Class levels of technology in terms of styling, in terms of presence, the new C-Class is definitely it. Now, I could, give Mercedes grief for making the car look exactly like an S-Class, but I really like the design language of the new S-Class, and I like how they've captured it in a smaller proportion C-Class, and it just seems to work. Now, obviously, there are a couple of things that I think this car could be a little bit sportier to drive. It's a little bit more on the luxury end. If you want a little bit sportier, you can obviously look at the BMW or even the Lexus IS. But in terms of interior space, there's a ton of space in the backseat. The trunk is also pretty practical. The tech in this car is just incredible. I love that nearly 12-inch display, which is a portrait style. It's got the features that I want, like wireless CarPlay. You also have that fingerprint scanner, which I think is a little more gimmicky, but in this particular package here, the Starling Blue with the Sienna Brown interior, I think it's just a really classy and elegant car. However, it is going to cost you a pretty penny if you guys are looking to buy these. These are just rolling into dealer showrooms now, and the base premium version starts at around $44,600. That's plus the $1,200 destination charge. If you guys want all-wheel drive, it's another $2,000. Now, from there, you can go on to the executive trim, which I imagine most of you are going to do. That's going to add the 360 camera, the Parktronic, automatic parallel parking, the Burmester sound system upgrade. I would easily add that for $2,000. This Pinnacle trim that I'm showing you also includes that, plus the augmented reality GPS, which is definitely nice. The heads-up display, which is also a great option. This starts at just under $50,000 with all-wheel drive. My tester, though, has about $12,000 worth of additional options, including the AMG body style package, the upgraded leather on the inside, the upgraded Burmester sound system, the digital matrix LED headlights, the color, all in with destination. This one here stickers for around $62,000. 62 grand for a base C-Class is definitely getting a little expensive. I mean, you could also wait for the C43, which should start around 60 grand as well, but that'll have an additional 150 horsepower. That's probably, for me as an enthusiast, what I would wait for. But remember, vehicles in this segment are just getting more expensive because of all the technology and luxury that you're getting. However, I'd argue that Mercedes in general has a knack for giving us the premiumness and the tech that you simply can't find in mainstream brands. And I really also like the styling of this car. I think it's a great looking new vehicle, and I'm really excited to test out the AMG versions and possibly the electric version that's coming in the next year or so. But with all that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the brand new 2022 Mercedes-Benz C300 4Matic. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.